digital media generation, as it were. So that was the impetus of the thought process. I spoke with Deb, I spoke with Louie, we talked through the vestry, and Charles is willing and available, he was, to take this project on, for which we've been very grateful. And so the project was to basically redesign print and digital media logo and branding on one hand, and on the other hand, to bring to fruition the embryonic website that I had started myself to work on. So Charles has done that as well. We're not quite ready for the grand debut, but we are getting close. And just as a reminder, if you're involved with a ministry, I'll be contacting you soon to talk about what you would like to go on the new website. Would you like a continuation of what was there previously? Would you like new information? Would you like information that is going to be updated on a regular basis? So we'll be talking about things like that soon as well. Do you feel like I'm leaving anything out, Charles? Is that kind of how we got here?
I think so.
Okay. The one other thing I'll say is that it's so nice to have a professional like Charles. I started trying to do some of this work myself, and you can see the difference between what I tried to come up with and what Charles has come up with. But what I did try to come up with was to use what I feel like is one of our most unique features here in the parish, which is our unique crucifix, our unique cross. And so that was the image that I began with and started thinking about working with, because again, it is highly distinctive and unique. And so you'll see how Charles took that idea and ran with it in, again, some really fascinating ways. So I'm not going to talk anymore. Charles, take it away.
All right, thank you for the introduction. So this is the presentation that I gave Father Andrew when we first reviewed the logo design and the branding design. So I'm just going to exactly what I showed him. This is version 1.2, so there's been some modifications based on some of the feedback that we got on missions. You will see those modifications in here. You don't know what it looked like before, that's okay. Here's your reminder. So I won't go through the contents here, but that outlines everything we're looking at in this presentation. And then we start with the brand introduction. So I'll just read this. It was very thoughtfully written. All Saints Episcopal Church is a progressive, intellectually engaged community in Lansing, Michigan, that welcomes seekers and questioners into the beautiful liturgy and compassionate action. The challenge here for me was to reimagine All Saints' visual identity to meet the demands of modern church communities like Father mentioned. The current branding lacks consistency, doesn't work well across digital and print platforms, like Father mentioned, and fails to communicate what All Saints is distinctive, what's distinctive about this church in the church landscape. The new brand system needs to modernize the church's presence while honoring its 70-plus year history, increase usability across everything from building signage to social media, stand out in a market saturated with generic church imagery, which you will see later, and resonate deeply with current parishioners, which I hope it does, who value authenticity and substance, and signal clearly to newcomers that this is a different kind of church, one where questions are welcome, minds are engaged, and all truly mean all. So the brand mission, this has been updated. If you recall, the original brand mission was to seek and love God, come and be fed, seek and love God, and serve each person as Christ. So this brand mission was updated kind work on that. And honestly, if I didn't have any of that, this wouldn't have happened. Or we would have had to sat for hours trying to figure out what that meant. So I just kind of packaged it in a nice, neat little package.
Yeah, when Charlie and I first started talking, he came to me with these questions, about brand identity and mission, the way that, again, you would in any sort of corporate setting. And I said, I think we have just the thing, which is all the work that was done by the search committee and the vestry in coming up with basically exactly that, to think about how you would present to the parish to a prospective rector. And so the work was already done. And so I got all of that work, thanks to Ellen, who gave me access to all of that. And then I shared it with Charles, and he poured through it with a fine-tooth comb and then ran it through his brilliant marketing mind. And that's kind of how we landed at this. But I just want to make sure that you all know that this came from the work that the parish itself has done to define who it is.
Yeah, there was about 15 different documents with various information in there, so it was a lot to come through, and in true transparency, I did use a little bit of AI to kind of summarize that. But going on, this is really the fruition of all your hard work, so these are what I'm calling the core brand values. So we are welcoming, questioning, educated, community-oriented, and authentic. So these were the top 5 keywords that you guys chose that represented our church. And I won't go into all these details here, but I think these are really powerful brand values to have in a church, and very unique brand values that make All Saints who we are. So, design and direction, the fun stuff, right? So this is what our competitor looks like. So you see various ones from around the kind of greater Lansing area, and then I've also included some logos in here that Father Andrew was mentioning when we first had our session. So here you see a lot of what I was talking about, this kind of similar religious iconography. So maybe it's a picture of the church, or it's a cross, or it's some kind of crest. You'll also notice that there's a lot of green here. Maybe that's MSU, maybe that's just how they felt that their church branding, that's the color that resonated with them. But I thought that was interesting when I kind of pulled it all together. I wasn't necessarily expecting it all to be so highly green. So, from a design direction perspective, these are the things that I talked with Father Andrew about. So, thinking about what our typography wanted to look like, we kind of went back and forth, but we kind of settled on making sure that it felt modern. We're not an overly traditional church. We wanted the emphasis of the typography to feel more modern, but we also talked about the fact that the liturgy at this particular parish is also kind of traditional. So I kind of landed on this idea of combining a more modern font with a more traditional font. And then from marks, I know Father Andrew started kind of with the reinvention or reinterpretation of what our cross looks like, but we did also discuss, do we want a crest? Is our building, because it's mid-century, is that an interesting enough logo mark? And then from a color perspective, Father Andrew just wanted to stick with really deep, rich colors, which I kind of agree with. So here were some of the kind of deep, rich colors that I had originally came up with. This is kind of another map of all the different kind of key themes that came up in all of your questionnaires. So lots of different brand home themes here that are interesting, responsive, generous, but again, like some of those key ones, welcoming and community-oriented and questioning, were kind of the top ones. And so the logo concept So we have our welcoming figure. So in that first image there, we have this kind of open arm figure, and obviously, you know, it's a reference to a Jesus figure, but it's also kind of like somebody reaching their arms out as a welcoming hug. You know, when I first came to All Saints, that was immediately the first thing that I noticed. It was like, you come in, somebody says hi to you, you feel like you're immediately part of the family, so I think that was really important to emphasize in this mark. And then we have a radial outreach. We had an amazing group of people working in outreach, working with our communities. I think it was extremely important that we represented that in our mark. And then lastly, this geometric precision is really just a nod to the fact that our church was built in the 50s, during the mid-century modern era, so it's a little more technically graphic design decision to make sure that everything in the logo felt super clean and crisp, as most graphic design was in the 50s. And then speaking of the 50s, I chose our primary typeface as Futura. It is a very, very classic mid-century font. It was developed in the late 20s, but it was heavily used during the 1950s advertising graphic design. And then again, I chose this sans serif, speaking serif font to emphasize the traditional liturgy as our accent. And so then you can see here that, you know, the logo works on light grounds and dark grounds. That's probably branding 101. If it doesn't work on light and dark, then you probably don't have a good logo. So this is kind of representing, like, it can work in different contexts. And then here are the different versions of the logo. So the horizontal logo is kind of there for, you know, letterhead, website headers, as you see later, building signage, and kind of environments where everything needs to be kind of bold, clear, confident. The stacked lockup is there for when you have smaller spaces and you need to kind of squish it in there. And then our mark at the bottom, there's some variations as we get smaller. So like little tiny things, like if you've ever really noticed that icon when you're on a web page at the top next to the web address is very, very tiny. So our original logo mark wouldn't work there, so I just kind of focused on that little welcoming figure because I felt like that was the most important thing to represent for that. And then color-wise, you see I didn't choose green. If we wanted to stand out in a market, especially here on campus, everything is green, right? Signs are green, everybody's wearing green. So our primary color of navy blue will really stand out to people coming in. But it also represents the kind of depth and faithfulness and intellectual sophistication that I feel like our church has and what I've learned from reading through all of those documents. The warm cream is just there to kind of represent our welcoming spirit. So white can sometimes be stark. So in instances where we want to feel more welcoming, we would use cream. And then the burnt sienna was kind of built based on the warmth of our wood and everything in the church, and it also just happens to be a classic combination of the mid-century modern era, that navy and sienna. And then here we see how the logo is being used. And you'll see that there's no sienna in here. The sienna is an accent. It's there to bring emphasis to certain things. We're not going to put anything on the sienna. We're going to focus on the white with our navy with our white for bolder instances, and then the cream to kind of bring forward that welcoming spirit. And then one of the comments when Father Andrew presented this in the first vestry meeting that we showed it was we were looking for some community engagement versions, which I think is totally relevant logo in action. So here is kind of what the website looks like currently. I did update this from my original mock-up. So you'll see the logo at the top, our navigation, and what I am proposing as a new motto, which is arms open always. For a website, you need something kind of short, simple, sweet at the beginning that just kind of signals to somebody coming to the website for the first time, who is this church? There's a staggering kind of statistic that says that people don't go past that first page, that first screen. So it really just needs to be like in your face, which is why we also have this button here. It was very important to Father Andrew that newcomers had a place to come and when you click on that, it would open up the visitor card, the virtual visitor card. So we wanted the emphasis of the website to be for people coming who were new and getting their information, telling them about us, and getting them involved in this church. So this button scrolls with you as you go through the whole page. So it's just there staring you in the face. It's in that sienna, which pops on the blue, and then it'll move into some more general information about the church from there. This was kind of a mock-up for what I felt like our Instagram could maybe look like. So focusing on the photography, making sure that I feel like that's way more emotional than just advertisements or whatever. And I liked kind of the center one of just like full message, something that feels graphic and gets people's attention. And then here were like mock-ups for the bulletin with our new logo, and then also a mock-up for our in-church visitor card. And then mocking it up for signage. I love our wooden sign out there, but I think it'd be fun to find a local artisan or somebody who could remake it out of the wood and paint it and make it still feel like it's part of our history. And obviously, we can relocate the original sign somewhere else. And then, funny enough, our sign out the front, although I know Father Andrew has plans to replace that sign, is already blue. So it was kind of meant to be that our logo ended up being blue in there. So that whole frame that's out there is blue, and then we have that red sign in there. And I'm like, well, it should have been blue, right? And then merch, everybody loves merch. So here are kind of my proposals for like community events. So you can see what it would look like in a banner. You can see what it would look like on a t-shirt or a hoodie, or a tote bag that we can give away. Like it's just a single color screen print on a tote bag. It's not going to be expensive to reproduce. And then for something like a mug, which is a little more fun. And I have a big textile background, so I knew I wanted to do a pattern. So I took our logo, turned it into a pattern, and then you can see where we use that kind of sienna.
We'll be taking orders right after this. Yeah.
So, and then it uses our new motto, which I think is really nice and bold. And our original shirt, our teal shirts that I still have, also have kind of like that motto on the back. So it was kind of like a reinterpretation of that. So yeah, that's the logo presentation. Anybody have thoughts?
I feel like we have to clap first. Because I think you all can tell, again, that when Charles and I sat in the library and he presented this to me, when we got to this point, I was just like, yeah, this is brilliant, it's beautiful, it's meaningful. And we'll talk about the website more later, but the way that Charles wrote the copy to sort of absorb and reinterpret some of the things I had written and some of the things we found in the documents it's really meaningful. He's done a fantastic job. we will probably have Charles doesn't know this yet, but we'll probably have another session at some point on the website once it's live to show it to folks and to teach them how to use it and those sorts of things. But anyway, yeah, so we would love to hear your thoughts and your responses and your questions, especially for Charles. Janet?
Whichever one we want to use, like if
Yeah.
we want to use the partners, yeah, like if we want to use our classic logo, or if it's the Justice League, we want to use our Black History Month version or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the files are available. So,
Yeah.
Father Andrew and
They are in the Google Drive and ready to go. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, there will be obviously a process over the next several months of kind of rolling this out in different ways, and there will probably be things that fall through the cracks, but you'll begin to see the redesign on the bulletins soon, obviously the website. You know, the print materials, it's going to take a little bit longer because we don't want to just totally throw out all of our old print materials. So, but there will be a transition, right? A transitional period. The goal at this point, right, is that anything certainly new that's being designed or used for parish communications will have the new graphic identity on it.
digital should
Yeah,
be
yeah,
switched.
right. Jean? Yeah, yeah.
It's huge. I love the logo with the way you've extended the circle, because it also has, when we were talking in the beautification and buildings and grounds about the Christus reps, about having that I'm off the crosses behind. And then it also kind of looks like that empty tomb as well. I don't know if
Yeah.
that was in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
but I love that kind of like, oh no, we're moving.
I like that.
We talked about a lot of,
Yeah.
it's funny, you know, I based all of this on the radio outreach and the welcoming.
Would you put that page back up for us real quick? Yeah, thanks, Charles. I mean, any of them really, just, yeah, so we can, there.
I'm going back to
Sweet.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool addition for it. It just
Yeah, Father Andrew saw all sorts of things, like a choir member holding a book, or
Yes, yes.
lecturer reading from the, you know,
Reading from the gospel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Since there's so many churches that are splitting, there's talk of schisms, I wondered, are we going to completely lose the crest that ties us to the national church? Are we concerned about?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, so anything that's tied to the diocese or the national church, we would still use the Episcopal shield if we're talking about the national church. You'll see at the bottom of the homepage of the website, there are links to the national church, the Diocese of Michigan, and Canterbury MSU. And Charles used all those original logos, yeah, for those things as well. Oh yeah, sure. Absolutely, absolutely, yes, yeah. And so in any context in which it's appropriate to sort of call out the national church, then we would still use the shield, the good old shield. Yeah, Joe.
Is that staying the same? Canterbury?
Yeah, because Canterbury's they've got their own graphic identity that Alex has been working on. And so the traditional Canterbury cross, the green one that's currently used, again, when we link to Canterbury, we've got that version, the most current version that Alex is using. Yeah.
No, I have not been asked to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you, I know he's working on their web and
Right.
that stuff, so
Yeah.
he'll probably end up doing that. So
Yeah.
if there's a change on there, he'll let us know and we can update our web page so that it can actually.
Bella.
Thank you so
like
Mhm.
when are the services.
Mhm.
I do have like a fun little kind of review of the church, so like what people think of the church, and then at the bottom there's more
Oh
of
yeah.
a newsletter thing, and so it's just kind of like basic information, and then when you get to like the About Us page, it's like really in-depth, longer explanation about who we are, our core values are included in there.
And that's gonna be my question, if we were gonna include those values, whether, I think the one that sort of made me pause, and it's not a negative or a positive, it was the educated. Because I think I remember from that search from the CAP when we were doing,
Hmm.
there's a lot of,
Mhm.
degrees in this church.
Yeah.
And sort of-
Some anxiety about that. Yeah.
And just sort of like what it communicates. And I don't know, like, I don't know, I'm not a comms person, so it's like, I think the spirit was we were intellectually very curious, we were inquisitive, but I think questioning was there. So I didn't see the fine print under educated, but whether that meant, oh no, I don't have a high school degree,
Mhm.
whether I belong here.
That's a great point,
It was
Bella.
kind of like my first school.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know what from the other side, how it's received.
Right.
I think, for the web site, we can definitely look and make sure that
Like deeper.
it like where it
For sure.
explains what educated means, or if we don't feel like that.
Yeah.
That's the right thing.
Well, we want to be truly inclusive, right? I mean, that's the goal. Yeah. 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 We'll continue to workshop it for sure. Thank you, Bella. Yes.
When I look at that picture, I imagine Christ with some hands and feet.
Yeah. With hands and feet.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes. So, sort of the other thing I wanted to emphasize, about the website is that you can tell that both Charles and I, sort of in both an explicit and implicit communication, have come to this conclusion, right? That we're really doing a good job, I feel like, on that front page, that landing page, of reaching our target audience. And as you all know, really, our target audience in many respects is not, I'm a fifth generation Episcopalian, because those folks don't exist in nearly the numbers that they once did. The target audience, I think, particularly for this context in this community, is folks who have been burned by other churches, folks who have not found other churches to be welcoming and inclusive places, people who are just about ready to give up on religion altogether, because it doesn't seem to represent the values of Jesus Christ. And so that's where we're going here, right? Is to capture those folks and to say, actually, there is a place for you. And actually, in being authentic and faithful to Christ's values, we're living out, this message. Yeah, Emily.
Just because I live in the house where this is being all of the things coming out of his office, I know that the words on the top are going to come, if you click on it, you get a little drop down. He was curious, and I'm curious too. Is that complete for what you know this church is, or is there potentially missing? Is there a word missing up there to the left of donate? That was one thing that
Sure.
he asked me.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I was like, it looks complete to me.
yeah.
Should things be combined differently, that kind of thing. So that's also something
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the ones that hear that.
Yeah,
We would like to do that from other people.
yeah, sir.
Again, going to that same point, we have friends and members of the church here, taking on with you specifically, who really need a very easy way to get to the morning service.
Yes.
On the morning of the service.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that there's some kind of,
Mhm.
at the top of the webpage,
Mhm.
and this would be like on a phone,
Yeah,
where the first thing they see is not, go here, do this, not go here, do that,
Yeah.
go here, do this. It's just like,
click, worship with us. Yeah. Yes. Church now. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
because that is really tricky for people who aren't
Yeah,
who aren't coming through a laptop, for instance.
yeah,
We're just struggling with the whole
exactly.
technology, the
Just make it as,
website and YouTube and this and
yes,
that.
Pure and simple.
Get to the service.
So same thing with the Sunday service bulletins. So both of those things will be very easily accessible. Yes, Renee.
I appreciate you, everything that you're doing, and I love that arms open always. That's beautiful. We've been here less than 2 years, but one of your pages mentioned what the old kind of thing that you said and what the new is, and the old, I don't remember exactly, but I know it said something like love each person as Christ. And I think your newer one had 3 things, but it didn't say as Christ.
Mm.
And I really
Mhm.
like that. I like that it includes that we're about Jesus.
Mhm.
That's what
Right.
that's
Yes.
where the love comes from.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the only thing that I'm
Thank you, Renee.
missing from
Of
that
course.
reading.
Yeah, thank you.
I do think there's a potential to maybe put something about social justice on the banner there. I think if you're new to this website, I know that's something that really drew me in as a new parishioner, but I kind of found it in a roundabout way. So I don't know if there's like a spot for like our Pride logo or our Black Lives Matter logo somewhere, or just even I don't know what your mind would do with it, but like
Mm-hmm.
I think that having that social justice as like one of our tabs like just would draw in a lot of people. I know like all the things that
Yeah,
you guys say this is why I came
Yeah.
here.
right.
But
Absolutely.
if I were just looking at a website, I know that would really draw me in.
Good. Thank you. Yes, Tony.
I was just wondering where the calendar comes in this.
Yeah, we're working on the calendar issue. Yeah, the calendar will be there, and it will be accessible as before. And the goal is to make it even more accessible and more readable and usable. But I will say my other goal for the calendar on the website, I actually don't want it to have as much information as the current calendar does. The current calendar shows everything, including when people are going to be in and out of the building, the cleaning crew, and this just doesn't need to be public information necessarily. So the calendar will be streamlined, right, to show the events that are pertinent and relevant to the public. And then we could find a way of making a more robust calendar available internally so that we don't have everything out there.
And can
Yeah.
I ask another question?
Yeah.
Do we have intellectual property rights to use these logos, right, once we
Yes.
contracted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of my background.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And we got accessibility and property rights right here. This is great. This is great. Yes.
As someone looking at this for the first time, I can't help but notice that I'm new here and donate. I only see things on that page that are the same brighter color.
Yeah.
And some people are really turned off by Truce's asking them to wear me all the
Yeah.
time. And so I'm wondering if that's just something I'm like, right or not.
I understand. I mean, it is nearly universal practice in every different variety and brand and denomination of the church to have some way for folks, especially if they are recurrent givers, to just be able to go and say, here's my pledge for the month. I'm going to,
Maybe something else that's also that color.
yeah,
Not just those
yeah,
only one
yeah,
outfits.
I hear you. Yes, yeah, Patty.
I know you can't fit everything on the front page,
Yeah,
but something like the wheelchair handicap.
yes, yes.
Church visit.
Yes, and Charles has a great write-up on accessibility in the church, and it's part of. But I hear what you're saying. So
If it was just somewhere
yes,
closer to the front.
yeah,
Somebody was looking at
yep,
a husband who was in a wheelchair.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's.
Thank you, Patty. Yes, right, right. That's great. Yeah, because Charles's write-up has where to go, how to go, where to enter, all of this really helpful information.
It's not currently on the home page.
Yeah.
It's under, everything kind of drives to other pages on the home page.
Right.
So if you scroll down and you click on learning more, that takes us to the About Us page. This is kind of like worship with us where you
There's the button.
click on the plus line. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not in the top necessarily.
Somebody may not even bother going through all that.
Yes.
They don't see.
Yeah.
how they get in
Right.
or move about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
With the kind of what I'm hearing other people say, and also just with the welcoming environment that we're trying to convey here, I'm wondering about switching the I'm new here and the donate position.
I've seen that done as well. I've seen it done, yeah, both ways. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Just one more thing, kind of calendar
Of course.
related. I know the first thing that you look for on a day like today,
Mhm.
and I know you don't cancel services.
Yeah.
But anything that's imminent or urgent, I
Right.
try to have a vigil or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Would that be
Yeah, if you keep scrolling down, yeah, you can see all of that. Sort of upcoming events with photos and links.
You can also
Yeah.
do,
emergency message or something?
yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
There's ways to do pop-ups for that.
Right.
So, like similar when you go to a website and they're trying to get you to sign up for their newsletter or to get 10% off.
Yeah,
You could do urgent messages similar to that.
Right.
You can turn them on and off as necessary.
the All Saints coupon code. Yes. Joe?
Couple of things. I just want to make sure other ministries that the widows and widowers group.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, Father Andrew, I haven't worked on that page yet.
Right. We're that's very much still in construction. Yeah.
The other thing is, I don't know how to put this. We have such emphasis on welcoming children and young families.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think All Saints is phenomenal in that. When I first came here, it was like, oh my goodness me, we've got children in this. But I soon got it. Is
Yeah.
there a particular emphasis anywhere?
Yeah, so the top right now has a children's youth section.
Yes. Yeah.
That's such a part of us.
And then there is a mention under the 10 a.m. service that there's a
Children's program.
So
Yeah.
just kind
Yeah.
of basic information. I know you want to put everything on here, but you also don't want to clutter it up and have it too busy. And
Yeah.
so, what we will take your feedback and do what we think
For sure.
is the right thing.
We want it to look exactly how websites looked in 1953. Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, I really like the graphic design. I like the welcome statement. The only thing I want to get a little pushback on is messing with the mission statement.
Yeah.
And then there was, some years ago, a big conference.
Oh, for sure.
For them doing that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Right.
And it took me like 10 years to remember. So,
I hear you. Yes, thank you. Janet?
Yeah, I wonder if you might consider a way that we could publicize the Episcopal Public Policy Network
Mm-hmm.
calls to action.
Mm-hmm.
Many people, I think, maybe are already getting those emails and
Yeah.
letters, but I don't know, just think about a way that, that there's a call to action that we could highlight where that might best live.
This is great. So this is being recorded and on our YouTube channel. So I'm gonna go back with a fine-tooth comb and get all the comments and then Charles and I will meet and we'll continue to talk about and make refinements. And so yeah, we really, really appreciate your gracious and direct feedback. Both of those things are important. So I'm really grateful for that. Yes. Yeah. David Baker? Yeah.
Just completing my form for the shirts.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Quick question, so if there is arms open
Yes.
always, would there be some reference to All Saints?
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
just the back of the shirt. So I think like
Yep.
left chest on the front.
Yes.
Trying to keep it modern and young to bring in some of the young families that we're trying to target.
There you go.
So.
Are you gonna want the hoodie and in what size? That's
And honestly, like, I don't know, there's a lot of services out there that are like print on demand, so we could just set up kind of an account. That's
Right.
kind of how it works.
right.
We're not for profit, so like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how we figure that out, but I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I mean, I think among many other possibilities for branding and marketing, one of the things that we used to do at St. Albans that I think is a really good idea is that the tote bag was available every Sunday for a visitor. So the tote bag, the branded tote bag, and then it had information about the parish in it. The tote bags would live right over there by the name tag board so that as I'm greeting people as they leave, say, hey, you're new here. Here's a tote bag.
Everybody likes free stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, the All Saints swag. Okay. Well, thank you again for your participation. Yeah. So more to come. I did neglect to mention this, but for the next 3 weeks in Adult Forum following today, we're having mission moments. So we're going to be hearing from Outreach, we're going to be hearing about the Davies Project, and we're going to be hearing from Social Justice. So stay tuned because that's going to be the next 3 weeks. And then beyond that is Lent. So we'll be into Lent, and I'm going to do a study for Lent. So, okay, thanks.